Okay, everybody. We are finally back after being gone for 6 months. I've missed you guys. I hope you guys missed me. This is Spittin' Sports with your one and only host, Marlon Jackson. And today we're switching it up because my co host had to step away and take care of some things. So I always love to have my replacement, on here to talk sports with me and to discuss everyday things. So, with that being said, you guys, this is Mr. King. And today we're going to get into the topics of discussing, is it okay for a head coach to pass down decisions to staff members or personnel on his team when he's ran out of ideas and situations? Second thing we're going to get into, is it smart or is it bad for a coach not to call timeout when he sees that his guys are confused and lost being out there on the court? So I'm going to go ahead and let my co-host go ahead and take the first lead for those one of those two topics, and we can just jump right into it.
First of all, first year head coach, you send Coach K home in his final game at Cameron Indoors. You kill that party. You send him home in the NCAA tournament. You said you actually end his career twice. But Bill Self outcoached you. He outcoached you. You're a first year coach. You got outcoached. And there's nothing wrong with being outcoached. Now I would be interested to see what he learns from that game. But he got outcoached, yeah. And I mean, and I also think that Kansas was a better team than Carolina, but Carolina got hot at the right time. Because I went back through my little notes. When I was young, I was a history major. I think the only first year coach to take a team to the final game in the NCAA tournament was, like, I want to say, Steve Fisher when he took the Fab Five, because something happened with the head coach at Michigan. And Steve Fisher ended up taking Michigan to the final game. But beyond that, first year head coach, yeah, he got out coach. Yeah, you had to call timeout.
I think where he lost it was when, well, was it when that big man went out, when he slipped and re-injured his ankle. I think that right
Oh
there, I
yeah.
kind of feel like that's when they lost that momentum, because they had the game, and then like I said, as soon as he got that rebound and slipped, that their whole momentum changed, and Kansas just put the final blow to the coffin. Because like I said, it's no way, and like you said, you've been watching basketball for years. There's no way that as a head coach you don't see your guys getting fatigued and confused, that you don't make that play to call a timeout to tell them, hey, what are we doing? We got a 20-point lead. We're blowing it. Now they down three with 2 minutes left. And we sitting here confused about what we're doing. We need to close out the game. And I think as a coach, and like you were saying, as a coach, if you're lost for ideas, you're gonna go to somebody over there on the bench and say, hey, what should we do these last, minute and a half to 4 seconds to, win this game? Or what should we do? I'm lost. And for people giving him a lot of clout and saying that he should have made that decision instead of his assistant coach and passing it off to you know, somebody else, he should be fired for that. I think that he shouldn't, because, like I said, any job or any profession you go into, you have a team, and your team. The only way for your team to grow is you have to give them a leadership role for them to grow. If you don't do that, they're going to keep being stuck where they're at for years to come without any experience. So to me, I think that was a good experience for that assistant coach to pick that play. It may have not worked, but at least he picked something that he felt at that time, being under pressure, for him to take that control and take over that game.
And I also think it's important that there's a level of comfortability, if that's a word, as a head coach, to trust you to call that play.
Hmm.
What you got, man? Drop a play. Let's win this game. Okay,
Yeah,
I'm gonna run A, B, and C. You might say, nah, how about X, Y, Z? But then
yeah.
you have to be comfortable in yourself to at least have the conversation and trust that person to call the play.
Because like you
Because
said,
I
when,
could I
because
could
if you're
probably
not
tell
there,
you.
Yeah, because like you said before, if you're not there, if something happens to where you get kicked out of a game or you get ejected or sometimes the assistant coach has to know how you want to operate the team moving on because he knows your standards as the head coach to say, okay, if I was Hubert or if I was Jeff Fisher, if I was Coach K, how would I, call this play up to make sure that we'll win the game or we can close it out. And as an assistant coach, that, like you said, it's a lot of pressure. But if you want to be in that limelight as a head coach, these are the times and crunch moments that you have to make that decision. And you got to live with that decision. It may not work, but you know what I'm saying. At the end of the day, nobody else is stepping up or taking that ignition. So as the assistant coach, you got to be able to say, let me fill in the shoes because this is my moment to shine. But I just don't think that from people I've been hearing around, they've been getting a lot of lack saying that, you let this dude here. So what does that make you? Like, who's really pulling the strings? Who's really the head coach? And to me, it's just like, if Phil Jackson didn't have his assistant coaches, if Pat Riley didn't have his assistant coaches, if them guys on the New York Knicks teams that you were talking about didn't have those assistant coaches, you know what I'm saying? A lot of times they wouldn't have made it to them final games or made it to those, the championship.
Yeah, and to your point, as the head coach or the head guy or head girl, it's your job to train people to take your job.
Yeah.
You have to train people. That's how systems and organizations sustain themselves. You build internal capacity, and that's why when the head coach leaves, the assistant coach can step in. When the assistant coach leaves, it's the second coach on the bench, or whatever the case may be. Because remember, the triangle belongs to Tex Winter. That's not Phil Jackson. And Tex Winter was the assistant coach. So the triangle is his.
Yeah. Phil Jackson just operated it and took it and and
Yeah.
implemented it into his plays, but that
Yeah.
technically is his assistant coach's play.
And, I mean, plus it always helped to have a Michael Jordan or a Kobe Bryant. Now, that always
Yeah,
helps.
Michael, Kobe, and
Yeah.
all them other guys to fill in those pieces to do the triangle. Because if you
Right,
didn't
but I
have those
mean,
guys to do it,
how does a Shaquille O'Neal fit in the triangle? Well, he fit it
exactly, he did.
because there was not a centerpiece to the triangle in Chicago.
It really wasn't because what was the biggest guy they had out there was Rodman and that tall what was that tall
Yeah, they
white
one
boy
time they had like
Longley and Purdue and Cartwright and all them guys.
right, but they weren't. Yeah, they weren't in the triangle. We just need you
Yeah.
to hit the glass and protect the rim, hard fouls.
And that's what I always tell people. So my other thing I feel like our biggest issue is I'm like a lot of us as a lot of athletes in general just feel like they don't want to jump into ownership. And when they do jump into ownership or do get the chance to, it's just like they give out the stereotype that everybody already knows what's going to happen. And to me, I'm just like the two biggest black owners that I like right now in the sports world that keeps it himself is Jay-Z, who's one who always looks out for anybody he can. He don't mind putting money into something that he knows is going to benefit, but he stays out of the limelight because he knows at the end of the day we have an image to maintain as black men or black people in society. And the second one I like is who was the guy that I seen on I forgot. He's like a rich guy from the islands, but he's a guy where he'll invest into certain things.
If there's an owner and you don't know his name, the owner's doing a good job.
Yeah, that's a good
Because
thing. It really
you
is.
shouldn't know who the owner is.
Exactly. Because like I said, at the end of the day, that doesn't give any publicity to any team if your owner's always on the news every 5 seconds about something. Even if it's something good, you still don't want your owner being on there too much because then it's like the one time, he slips up or does something, now all of a sudden now his name is out there and everybody knows who he is. But at the same time, I kind of feel like they don't want black people, or I feel like people of our nationality to go into this world or bubble or circle that they have because they know that we're gonna change the game just like we do when we get into sports. We change, we break records and we take over. So they feel like once we take ownership, that we're kicking them out, and that's why they don't like allow a lot of us to have full control. They'll give us a piece. All right, we'll give you 40%, but that's all we can give you. We can't give you everything else because if we give you that, we're losing our credibility as the tough guys out here that are secure and make the decisions. And I feel like when basketball, like when Jordan, like when him owning the Charlotte Hornets, the last thing I heard about Jordan I can't even remember, was that he invested what $65 million into prison systems, and that was darn near 7 years ago. But other than that, I haven't really heard anything bad. You know what I'm saying? And now Isaiah Thomas is, he's trying to put in a little bit of money for the Detroit Pistons to try to take a little bit of stock into that. And I was reading about that, and I'm like, so for these guys to come back and do that, it's good, but I just still feel like it's not the same as owning or running the team.
Mm-mm. I mean, and yeah, and that's a valid point, but they would never let Isaiah own a team because Mike didn't like Isaiah. That's why Isaiah was not on the dream team. So yeah, poor
Yeah,
Isaiah.
and to me that just okay. So would you say that would you say that that's just what do you call it, a spoon fed type of thing, or do you think because whatever Mike wants he gets, because we know
I
Isaiah was
don't
talented
think
enough to make that team. So
I don't think Mike wants Isaiah to be as successful as he is. So if Isaiah actually gets a team, he might become as successful relative to the Charlotte Hornets. Now, granted,
but
the
we
Hornets
see
are
how,
bad.
but did we ever watch how? Because remember when Isaiah coached, he wasn't a good coach when I seen him
No,
go.
he
I
was
don't
not
know
a
if
good
that was
coach. No, he's not.
college and
He
pro.
coached the Knicks. I'm a Knicks fan. He was not a good coach. But it's hard. It's hard for Hall of Fame players to be good coaches
Yeah, that is
because there's
true.
certain things they just expect. The one I saw do it well was Larry Bird. But remember, Magic tried to coach. Magic's like, I can't do this because these cats are not good. Yeah, that's normally what happens. You get a team and you try to win some games. I mean, but
So
Larry Bird was able to do it.
what do you think at the end should work out for those guys? Because like I said, I don't mind those guys getting back into the industry, like the NBA and the
Mhm.
owning team. But I just kind of feel like if they're gonna do it, I kind of feel like with all these guys, if they're shipping you out, why are y'all scared to start your own league? All y'all have the money to do it. It's like why not
Yeah.
start your own league and do it? Make your own rules. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Compete with the NBA, compete with the NFL, compete with the MLB, compete with the MLS. You know what I'm saying? Because everything we do, we're gonna kill it. You know what I'm saying? It's not like we don't have black billionaires like Diddy and what I'm saying, and those guys to back them up. To buy these things. Because if you're not gonna allow P Diddy to buy an NFL team because of certain way he says things or how he presents himself, then how do you expect anybody to buy a team by certain things that they say, or they don't have the certain look to own a team? Buy your
You
own stuff.
don't.
Then you make your own
You,
rules.
they don't expect them to. That's it. They don't expect them to. So we're not even gonna give you that opportunity.
So my thing is make your own rules. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like that's another thing that we avoid is I feel like I'm not saying it's just my opinion, but I kind of feel like the guys who have money, they're scared to start it because then they feel like all of a sudden now it's a target on their back for creating a new platform of sports the way that they want to create it. Because if we do this, it might, turn this. If we do this, it might fail. Don't think of fail, man. Go in there. You got great players. Everybody's going to support you. All those guys that's in them G League that you watching on TV, and all them guys on the G League that don't have a chance of, what I'm saying, going back to the league. If you create a league of your own, those guys will get those opportunities to get the second chance to prove themselves.
Yeah, but what you also had to understand too, Marlon, is that fear paralyzes people. But when you scared, you won't make a move. You will just do it to go with the status quo. You will just be still. You won't try Ice Cube's Big Three, which was
Yeah,
funny to me till I saw it on NBC. I was like, okay, go ahead, Ice Cube. It was like these cats, man. He grew up watching. They still got a little game. We're gonna change the rules, so y'all ain't gotta do all this work, half court. Yeah, next thing you know, it's on NBC. But there had to be a level of security within yourself to not be worried about failing.
yeah, and
But
I think the best person, and like we were talking about, I think the best person would be LeBron. In my opinion, I think the best person that can start that league would be LeBron because once he leaves the NBA, those guys that he brought on them championship teams with him, and them guys that what I'm saying he helped develop, and them guys that are up and coming that he mentors, he can help all them guys get into that league, man, and help develop their game. You know what I'm saying? But you can't do that in the NBA because the NBA has so many rules and restrictions that it's hard for any athlete to get the right type of treatment or the right type of help to develop their game because it's so limited to do. They only focus on the stars. They don't
oh
focus
yeah,
on the guys that that you can mold to be the next best thing. You're already set on the team you got, and then it goes from there. And to me, it's just like if you keep putting your money into an old horse, eventually that horse is gonna die out. And then what do you got left to do for it? You might as well let the old horse, what I'm saying, show these young people how it's done, give them a chance to be where you're at, and then keep it going so that it keeps going. Because if you don't keep the pattern going, you lose a lot of, you know what I'm saying, stability going down. Because like I said, LeBron, I feel like is a guy can do it. If he can open up a school, you know what I'm saying, if he can invest into colleges and he can, you know what I'm saying, invest into books, I think he can be that guy that's not scared to say, yo, I'm gonna open up this league. Whoever wants to back up, be with me, or be an owner, or be a coach, or whoever wants to uh, be, on that team, let me know. Here's the qualifications. And then he can make that rule. If you do college, 1 year college, one and done. All right, you can go. You can go get
Yeah,
drafted.
I mean, because a lot of those one and dones are terrible, and
You're
they end
right.
up flaming out after 2 or 3 years. So I mean, it would be a good landing spot for them. Um, I guess my only concern would be finding enough black money to have enough teams to actually sustain the league.
Well, I mean, we have a lot of black billionaires we don't hear about, like you were saying earlier, that keep to themselves, so they wouldn't
But
mind.
would they be interested in that kind of venture?
I think they would, but I think the only thing is though they would have somebody represent them. Like they'll put the money into it, but they'll do it behind the scenes because they don't want to be seen investing into that and then knowing that they're losing out or missing, certain opportunities. People, because you got to think about it, these successful black billionaires hang out with successful white billionaires, hang out with successful Indian billionaires, hang out with successful Chinese, or what I'm saying, every billionaire. So they're going to be the type where it's like, yeah, we don't mind doing it, but we don't want to be seen doing it. You know what I'm saying? So we're going to get somebody else to go around there and do it for us. Otherwise, we're going to give you the check. I'm going to give it to the middleman. The middleman's going to give it to the little guy, and then the little guy's
Yeah,
going to go from
the
there.
trickle down effect. Yeah,
Yeah, because you got to think
and
about it. They got to same
it's a
favor.
valid point. But you had to develop the infrastructure because look, I used to watch a little XFL. It was good to me. Little
Exactly. And what do you
XFL
think
football in
happened?
the spring. I was like,
And
okay,
then what did
man,
you
it's
feel
fun.
think? And then what did you feel thinking happened with XFL? Why it failed and why
You
it
know,
flopped?
I don't know why the XFL failed. I just know they're talking about bringing it back or whatever. I used to watch the USFL.
Yeah.
I mean, look, I'm a football fan, so I don't know the intricacies of what happened and the whys behind it.
Mhm.
But I mean, I definitely think it's possible and doable. I just don't know if enough black money will be interested in creating that kind of venue.
Mhm.
But I mean, I wish that there would because look, there like you said, there is black money out there.
Yeah, and I think, like I said, and the only thing is because when it goes back to it, it's like a lot of times black people are like, "Yo, we say the wrong things or we do the wrong things. We're not going to continue to keep getting this money that we're getting from these opportunities that's out here." And a lot of times, it's like at the end of the day, coming from your area and then coming from my area, it's like, man, y'all can't be scared of that. You got to go in there and say, "Yo, we can do exactly everything better than these guys and way better because first of all, we're the athletes. We know the ins and outs of the games. The
Right.
second of all, we're out here busting our behinds every night, night in and night out, proving ourselves why we deserve to be on this team. And for you to cut us because you can't afford the salary to keep me on a team, to me that just doesn't make any sense. I kind of feel like, how did they do it back in the day, King? Like you weren't able to get traded. If you was on that team, you was on that team until you died. That's basically how my dad said it. You know what I'm saying? If
Yeah,
you was
look,
on that team,
whenever that contract ends, that's when you get to move. We
yeah,
talked
ain't no.
about that too the other day. And you might now you wouldn't remember Kurt Flood. He's the one that sued to be a free agent and
Oh
won.
wow.
Yeah, he's a baseball player. So
Mm,
that was like 70, what was it, 72 or 74?
wow.
So that's how you get all these free agents because of what he did. But nobody knows Kurt Flood.
Now, do you
Now
think that was
Hughes brought it up. Hughes knows him because Hughes has family in St. Louis. St. Louis
mm.
is a baseball city.
Oh yeah, it's always
So
been.
that's how you would know about Kurt Flood. But I was little, I'm a baseball fan. So I know Kurt Flood and what he did for the game.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah. But I
My
mean, to
biggest
your
thing
point,
was, I'm like, yeah, that's like you were saying. I start agree with you 100%. But my biggest thing is like, look, at the end of the day, I kind of feel like if you're on your team, that's your team until leave good, bad, win, lose, or draw. Wherever you guys get, you got to put that team together, put them pieces together, and work with that organization. That next team that you were talking about, that team has had Ewing, and that Ewing has seen guys come and go, but he's still stuck with that team until he left, New York or retired from New York because he knew that he loved the city, he loved the fans, and he figured, as long as I can get pieces around me, I can win. I'm not gonna leave and go play with, Michael Jordan or go play with Gary Payton or go play with Charles Barkley
Yeah,
because
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
want
yeah.
to win a
Yeah,
ring. He wants to beat
yeah,
those guys.
we Knicks fans. We not built like that. We Knicks
Yeah.
fans. We not built like that. Look, it was always us against the world. I don't care who it was. The
And that's what I'm saying because
Bulls, the
I always
Heat.
say, like,
I don't like none of them.
I never
Mm-mm.
liked that teaming up with the best guy because my thing is if you want to be the best, you got to beat the best. Every night you're gonna go out there and prove why you the best center, why you the best guard, why you the best team, why
Hmm.
you the best,
Hmm.
you know what I'm saying, coach, why you the
But
best,
you know what?
fan base.
But they don't make them like that no more. Because remember, these guys we watching now, they all play AAU basketball together. So they've known each other 10, 12, 15 years.
And
So
what the
from the
bad
time
part
they
is,
were 12 to 15 years old, they were already playing together. So they
and
good to
what the
the
bad part
league.
is, thing I get mad about is I'm like, man, shoot, at this point, I feel like, what's the point of having a head coach if y'all letting most of the players make the decisions when it comes to the games? You know what I'm saying? That's how I looked at it because when I was looking at the Phoenix game the other night, man, I said you ain't even see Monty Williams, do a lot. He was sitting there on the bench, looking at his clipboard. Chris Paul and Devin Booker were over there coaching the team, for that time, which is cool. But I'm like, at the same time, it's just like as a head coach, you got to say, all right, there's certain things that you guys may see that what I'm saying that I don't see, and then there may be certain things that I see that you guys don't see. But I'm not gonna sit here and what I'm saying, exclude myself out of the conversation because I want to know what you guys are doing because whatever you're doing is working, but we need to make sure that it continues to keep working. And if I don't input that and let you guys know that, you'll get too comfortable to where you start letting the league go. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of times we've seen that effect where a team will have a 30, 40 point lead, get comfortable, and then all of a sudden now the second half comes and the lead's cut down to five. You're
Oh,
like,
now that's also because referees in the league want you to keep watching. If it's a blowout, people change the channel, and then the ratings go down, and then the price of commercials go down. So keep that
see,
in the
I didn't
back of
even
your
look at
mind
it like
too.
that.
Because remember, Tim Donahue, NBA official, went to jail for fixing games. So yeah, that plays a part of it too. So it's not a matter of just bad coaching and the team comes back. Nah, sometimes there's some little fouls. You're like, that wasn't a foul, or that was
Yeah.
traveling, or you can call traveling on every play. You
Or
call it
sometimes how you'll
carry.
say, what is it? Or how you say King, like sometimes when they call. Now, I don't know about the flagrants. You know how sometimes they'll say certain things are flagrants because if a guy puts his hands up and your face hits his elbow, I don't think that that's his fault. I think that that's your fault at the angle you
Yeah,
went at. But because the guy had a facial expression on his face
yeah.
when you got fouled, and all of a sudden now it's a flagrant two, and you're getting ejected. And to me, I'm just like, I think they need to change
See,
it because, like you said, the referee, I think could be in cahoots with the A. Let that be a flagrant. Let that one of their best guys go out so
yeah,
that this game could come
yeah,
back and happen.
yeah. Because I can remember there was no such thing as a flagrant foul. Either it was a shooting foul, or it was a 1-and-1, or you take the ball out. No flagrant
Yeah.
foul. Remember, I'm a Knicks fan now. We were not the best offensive team, but I know we had a basic rule: no layups. You
Yeah,
come to
ain't
talk
nobody
about a
getting
layup if you want to. Everybody gonna foul you. Starks is gonna foul you. Ewan gonna foul you. Oakley gonna follow up. Mason gonna push you down. Ain't no layups around here. You better go make
and
two free throws.
the thing is you can't look at the ref to try to call it because you can be like, ref, I'm in the paint, man. He just
I
bumped me.
fouled you. Yeah, I fouled you. Okay. You got fouled. And what you gonna do about it? Go shoot free throws. Because we might not win the game. We will win this war.
We're gonna make a statement. We're gonna let you know, hey, don't come down here. You're doing
Everybody knows. We're not doing that with y'all. Mm-mm. I
that. And that
mean,
was the
and
biggest
that's
thing.
just the game has changed, and the game has changed for the better. Let me say that. But the game is also so much more soft. It was
Yeah.
always like, okay, man, come on. So you can't really touch anybody nowadays. Back then,
But
you
see,
could
like you said,
hand check
like
and
you
use
said,
your forearm. I mean, it was
the game is
basketball.
changed. The game has changed so much because, like you said, a lot of times it's not even about the heart of the competition anymore. It's about money. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Because a lot of
yeah,
times nobody really plays for, oh, I'm the best guy in the NBA and I'm gonna show you why. I'm better
yeah.
than you. You know what I'm saying? Now it's about, hey, pay me or I'm gonna sit on this bench for what I'm saying the rest of the season until you give me the money I
Yeah,
want. And then
yeah.
the bad part is you don't even show up for the contract that they give you when you sit out because now that you got that money, you're so stable and laid back that you just like, well, what I need to play hard for? I got this $100 million for 6 years. You know what I'm saying? I'm good. So I
When
just
was
kind
the
of feel
last
like
time you saw Kawhi Leonard?
that's what I said. You're right. He's been out a whole year with a Achilles injury, and I'm just like.
Look, he's been out so long. I don't know what's wrong with Kawhi Leonard. It has literally been that long. I don't know what's wrong with. So I mean, to your point, look, a friend of mine, he's had this joke. When players get that fat contract, and wallets get fat, and that causes them to pull a hamstring because you carrying all that money in your wallet. So you pull that hamstring carrying that wallet.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, I mean it's the truth, and like you said, because most players they'll go in there and they want to play because they love to get the game and the competition. But others will just be like, oh, well, I got my 6 years, so and I got my ring and I got my shoe deal, so I'm good. I'm
And
just gonna play.
especially in the NBA when the money's guaranteed. What are you kidding me?
Yeah, exactly. The
You
only
got
time
to
it's
play
not
in the
guaranteed
NFL,
is
so that
when
money's not guaranteed in the NFL. You had to play.
yeah. And see, I think they need to change that rule with the NBA, but I think only because the NBA has more games and it's a longer season that I kind of feel like they wouldn't do that because then they're just like, oh, well, then we're going to lose ratings if, that if the stars don't play because that's what people are paying for to come and see the stars. People are coming to pay for to see the team, not the stars. So it's like, what you expect? But that's just.
Yeah, and that's one problem. That's one problem Adam Silver's having with the NFL and with the NBA. We can't just sit out.
Check this shit right now, bro.
So if I'm trying to come see Marlon and Marlon sits out and he only comes to town twice a year, I didn't pay money for this ticket, and Marlon decides he doesn't want to play. Yeah, that's an issue.
Yeah, and I think that I think that they should do to end off with it. I think that they come up with a new way of doing contracts and salary. Like I would say like the first 10 games. If you can show me out of them first 10 games that you're willing to play for this money that we're paying you, then I would continue to keep paying you this contract because then you're showing me that you're dedicated. You're gonna get paid regular like a regular NBA player until you play and show me that you that guy because. Like that whole thing with the Cowboys. Remember they paid Ezekiel Elliott, what was that? That 4 years, $90 million. And then what did Ezekiel Elliott do with the Cowboys after that? He wasn't that Zeke that almost got them 2,000 yards in the season. He was an 1,100 yard Zeke this year. I think he had like 1178 or 11 something. And I'm like, but you paid this man 90 million with 40 million guaranteed. I'm just like, to me, it just.
Yeah, I mean, but in my heart of hearts, I think it's harder for football players because it's just so much more physical, and you're more susceptible to the injury. The average length of your career is like 3 years. So
But do you think
you really don't see that $60 million contract. So that's why I think that they hold out to get that because they understand. Yes, you will cut me in 2 years.
I think certain positions though, when you look at it, can last longer because, like you said, if you're on defense, yeah, you ain't gonna play but darn near but 3 to 7 years at the most, depending on your injuries and the amount of times you've been taking hits and giving hits. You know what I'm saying? But I feel like for quarterbacks or for, what I'm saying, like offensive linemen, I kind of feel like as long as, they can continue to keep blocking it and stay in shape, I kind of feel like their contract should be guaranteed and solid because the quarterback is the top person on that team that lead that team. And I kind of feel like the second line of defense is the offensive and defensive line. You know what I'm saying? To me.
Yeah. Well, good luck negotiating that with a union because they already decided that. Oh yeah, we not the NBA, the NFL is not going to give guaranteed contracts.
And that's what I'm saying. The NFL and that's why I kind of feel like the NFL loses a lot of fan base, but then they're gaining money. They rather lose, you know what I'm saying, and endorsements.
But Marlon, the NFL is king. The NFL is king. We all love football.
No, you're right.
There's an NFL network that has shows on every day that I record or I will watch. So when I'm not doing anything, I can just watch NFL today or whatever.
I just think the NFL, behind the scenes, the owners as an organization is messed up. You know what I'm saying? Their thought process and how they make the rules and these salaries, I kind of feel like it's way messed up because for you to give one guy $60 million for 6 years versus giving it to a guy that you can build and develop and that is going to be great because of his work ethic, and you giving him an $850,000 contract and in 2 years, I'm like, to me, it's just like, I mean, I understand he was here and he was loyal, but I just feel like if he doesn't brought anything to this city, why is he getting paid $60 million and I'm getting paid $850K and I'm doing more work than he is?
Yeah, but that's one thing you don't do. You don't talk about another man's pocket. You got to negotiate your own. If you playing for $850, that's all on you. I done got them to give me this 60 million, 30 million guaranteed. Here, let me give you my agent's number. Have my agent talk to them for you. I mean, because the reality is that, and I'm a Cowboy fan, that's what they do. They turn the roster over and they recruit good guys. I mean, they draft good. They draft well.
So you saying Jerry Jones and them are known for that, for doing that drafting like that when it
Yeah, they
comes.
pimping. They pimping people. That's why Amari Cooper had to go. We're not gonna give you $20 million a year when I got CD Lamb on this rookie contract. Yeah, Amari Cooper, we appreciate it, but dog, good luck in Cleveland. It's business. It's business. And Amari Cooper is still a productive receiver, and Cleveland is going to be good. Now, I don't know how many games that Deshaun Watson's gonna be able to play with the civil suits and all that. Like, yeah, I don't know about all that right there, but yeah, that's how it works. Belichick just say, man, I would trade you a year early and keep you a year late.
That's a good.
Yeah, I'll trade you. I'll trade you a year early when you go somewhere else and make the Pro Bowl, and then you fall off the cliff. The whether I give you this 3 years, $60 million contract, you make one Pro Bowl in the next 2 years, I'm stuck with that salary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they should do the what do you say, King, how they do in the NBA, how they do, what is it, the 2 year option, and then if you want to sign that third option, depending on
Yeah.
your
Yeah.
product, I think you should do that for the NFL, because anytime you get a contract in the NFL, it's either you get a 4 year deal and then you get a 1 year deal, depending on if you're a free agent or if you're a rookie or somebody from the practice squad. So my thing is, why not just give them a 2 year option to decide, okay, in these 2 years, if you as a quarterback or you as a running back are not being productive in these 2 years in this player option, we have a right as a NFL team to sell your contract and keep the money, or keep at least part of the money, and then that way we don't lose at the back end of it by getting rid of you when it comes down to it.
The union not going for that one, Martin. Union not going for that one. You're not
I'm gonna
going.
try
They're
to
not.
I'm gonna try to see if they get. Come on, y'all. Everybody who out there, man, y'all hear it.
The
Let's get
union, the union. Now you do have that player option. Like, okay, when you sign your rookie deal, there, I think the first round is there's like a 5th year option, and that's what everybody talk about Baker Mayfield. Cleveland's not about to pick up that 5th year option.
Yeah, why?
Cleveland has signed 3 quarterbacks. Baker Mayfield, you need to find a job. Now, this just and look, I got people in Cleveland, I love them to death, but this is just how dysfunctional Cleveland is. I would have traded Baker Mayfield the day I signed Deshaun Watson, because now you have devalued him. So everybody in the NFL know. Let's wait for them. All you do is wait for them to cut him. We don't have to trade for Baker Mayfield.
So you don't think it's gonna be like a quarterback battle out there in Cleveland for them to decide who's gonna be their starting quarterback? Because they did have that issue before in New England with Brady and Drew Bledsoe and all them guys, and they had them second quarterbacks that come in and compete.
No, there will not. There will not be a competition between Deshaun Watson and Baker Mayfield, and I think they signed Jacoby Brissett. There is no competition. The competition will be if Deshaun gets suspended for whatever based on his civil lawsuits. Who is going to start? The second or third quarterback we sign. Baker, you are done.
Yeah. So my,
You're
my
done.
thing is, are you gonna start Jacoby Brissett over Baker Mayfield if that stuff does happen with Deshaun Watson? Because you gotta
Yes.
take a rational decision.
Yes. Listen, and I'm not a Baker Mayfield hater. Let me just be clear.
Yeah.
But if I give you Odell Beckham and Jarvis Landry, I give you Nick Chubb, and I give you Kareem Hunt as running backs, you better go to the playoffs.
Yeah. That's a Super
You
Bowl team right there. I mean, that's
you better go to the playoffs. And they won the playoff game. They beat Pittsburgh.
yeah.
But Pittsburgh gave them 21 points in the first quarter. I think a snap over the head with a touchdown, a
And then
pick
they
six.
had the opportunity to beat the Kansas City Chiefs, and then you guys
Yeah.
go and
Baker is not that guy. Baker's a good quarterback. He's not Deshaun Watson, so no, we're not having no
I
quarterback
think
competition between Deshaun Watson and Baker Mayfield. Hell no.
I think in and of I
Look,
think
he
I
took
think
Baker Mayfield talking about he was disrespectful. That's disrespectful to Deshaun Watson.
I think
Quarterback competition. Me and him? Are you serious? Okay then. We'll
I think at
compete.
the end of the day, I think Baker Mayfield is gonna pull a he's gonna be like Matthew Stafford. He's gonna go to another team and help, you know what I'm saying,
And win the Super
evolve them.
Bowl?
I'm not saying win a Super Bowl, but I'm saying he's going to help them, that organization, turn around a team that needs quarterbacks. So there are teams out there that need, like the Titans, they need a quarterback. They just picked up Matt Ryan. I'm like, Matt Ryan is not, I mean, not Matt Ryan. They picked up, who's that veteran quarterback they picked up? Because Ryan went to the Colts. But I'm
Right.
like, my thing was you could have picked up, he could have went there. You know what I'm saying? Because it's not like the Titans are a bad team. They just need a quarterback. You know what I'm saying, to get the ball because they have a great running game. You know what I'm saying? They have a receiving core with Julio and Davis and Sutton Jr. So I'm like, you might as well, you know what I'm saying, go out there, get a quarterback and see how you work in that organization and tell Cleveland you should have kept me. You know what I'm saying?
Right. But you are also making the assumption that somebody wants Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, he's a great quarterback. See, I mean, a good quarterback. You
No,
said good, so
and
he's good.
nobody is lined up for Baker Mayfield because everybody, and not nothing against Baker Mayfield, but if you think about it, everybody pretty much got their quarterback. Denver got Russell down,
Yeah.
got Russell Wilson. Seattle
Right.
might need a quarterback,
You don't think
but
Miami or
Miami
Tennessee
got Tua. They gonna ride with Tua for a year to
or
see
New
what
York
Tua can
or
actually do.
who did New York just pick up the Jets? They might have I was like those are a couple of them teams. 'Cause like I said, yeah, and you know the
Nah,
New York.
New York just drafted a quarterback, so they got to see what the boy from BYU is gonna do. Nah, there's not. Ain't no Baker Mayfield market.
I mean, he could come to DC. I mean, DC picked up horrible when they got Case Keenum. I mean, not Case Keenum.
Oh, that's right. They got Carson Wentz.
Yeah, that
Now
dude there.
that might be a good little quarterback competition. Baker Mayfield, Carson Wentz. Okay,
Because if you
I
think
I
about it,
give you that one.
Wentz hasn't proven himself. And, when that Super Bowl, that was Nick Foles that did all that to
Yeah,
help the
that's Nick
Eagles win.
Foles' work. Yeah, that's Nick Foles' work. He did have a good year before he got hurt.
Yeah, I'm not
But
saying
yeah,
Carson
that's
Wentz.
Nick Foles' work. Because look,
I'm not
all
saying
that's cute in the regular season, but the playoffs, Nick Foles like, oh, don't worry about it. I got it.
and he went in there with no pressure and went in there and beat three defensive teams, hell of a defensive teams, and took it to the Super Bowl and then won it as a backup
And
quarterback.
look, and dropped 40 on Belichick's head.
As a backup,
Dropped
and
40 on Belichick's head. Yeah. Yeah. One of the best defensive minds to ever do it. Here, take these 40. Tom Brady, you go to the locker room. I'm about to get this trophy and stand up under this confetti. Y'all have a good day.
And the funny thing is, it was just like you can't even give the Eagles a defense that year because that year the Eagles had them wide receivers and that running back to sit there and get them to that Super Bowl. If it wasn't
Yeah.
for Alshon Jeffrey and Zach Ertz and Brent Selleck and them guys,
Mm-hmm.
man, and that's why I think that when it comes to quarterbacks, you got to make it. I think it's good to go young because you can always mold those young quarterbacks. Like I said, Baker's been in the league for what, almost 4 years now. So I think Baker, he can get better, but if he gets worse, then I kind of feel like that's his fault for him getting worse
Man,
because
now, in Baker Mayfield's defense, I think he's had like 4 head coaches and 4 different offensive coordinators. So I'm not saying it's been easy for Baker Mayfield. But all I'm saying is you had to understand this is a business, young man. I have the I have the opportunity to get Michael Jordan, but you are Karl Malone.
uh,
I got to go with Mike. I appreciate Karl Malone and everything you do, but so when you had a chance to upgrade your team, you got to upgrade your team.
But now, okay, now saying that, do you think that when you upgrade the team, do you kind of always think that backfires? Because now that you got this person, do you think that it's going to work out and he's going to play in that type of style and fit into the scheme fit that you're looking for? Because, like I said, he may have been able to do good in Texas, when he was playing with the Texans. But do you think that he's going to still bring that same fire and heat from the Texans all the way over to Cleveland?
I think he's going to bring that same fire because he has something to prove. But I also think, to your point, I don't know if Cleveland is going to ask him to do the same thing that Houston asked him to do, simply because you got Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. Nah, Deshaun, we don't need you to carry the whole team. We don't need you to do that. You got backs. So when you play action, these linebackers are going to bite up. So now Jarvis Landry's going to be wide open. So yeah, I don't think he will be asked to do as much. And if I give you $230 million guaranteed, we will scheme it up for you and your skill set.
Yeah, because like you said, a lot of times players at the end of it, I think a lot of times when players get into new scheme fits, because some people have the what is that the West Coast offense, and some people
Right.
have
Yeah.
what is that? What is that? The balance and the run balance and the spread. I kind of feel like it's a whole new playbook for them to learn. Which I'm not saying it's not hard for them to adapt to, but I just kind of feel like in Deshaun Watson's defense, he was comfortable where he was at when he was playing in Houston because Houston doesn't really have that type of offense that'll just what I'm saying, wow you. Deshaun was making that offense wow you because of the plays and the passes and the decisions that he was making when he was on the field. What I'm saying?
Yeah,
Because it was the same thing when he was in with Clemson, from Clemson going into the league.
what was Houston running? I don't know what Houston was running.
Because Houston, I
What
think
was
Houston
that?
had a on offense. I think Houston was doing like more of like a what was that like they were like running gun type of thing, but then their more thing was like, okay, we're gonna run, we're gonna do shotgun, and our biggest thing is play action. So Houston got rid of a lot of their shotguns and just kept, more of their standard play action and running stuff. They would do a shotgun every now and then, like they were lining up in a shotgun form, but they were never that type of people, you know what I'm saying, to actually call it or go through with it. And
Okay, I'm glad because I was just like, I don't know what
Now, because like I said,
Houston
and
was.
that's what I was seeing watching, Houston. Like I said, with that new coach that they got there, who knows what he's gonna, bring to that table. But,
Right.
being Deshaun Watson and being in Houston for those last 3 years, I was there. I just kind of feel like, you know, I'm gonna give you this money because I seen what you did in Houston, but you got to show me why you're better than Baker. You know what I'm saying? Because if I'm giving you this 230 guaranteed and you coming out here not doing the same exact thing, and then
Marlon, it's just Baker Mayfield. We're not talking about Russell Wilson
But
anymore.
but Baker went to the what was it? Baker took Cleveland to the playoff what since they haven't been to the
No,
playoffs
no,
in
no,
how
right?
long?
No. Let's be clear. Baker went to the playoffs with Kareem Hunt, Nick
Nick
Chubb,
Chubb,
Jarvis Landry, Njoku as the tight end, Miles Garrett playing defense.
Austin
So Baker
Hooper, Travis
Mayfield did go to the playoffs. He went to the playoffs. He didn't take him to the playoffs. Let's be clear.
come
So
on.
they went and they
Yeah.
won a playoff game and they beat Houston.
So
You
you're saying
absolutely
if
right.
anybody? So you're saying if any other quarterback had that same lineup, they would
No,
they
no, no,
would.
no, no. I didn't tell that lie. I didn't tell
They
that
would
lie
I'm
because
just saying.
Daniel Jones couldn't do that. I don't think Daniel Jones could do that.
You don't
No,
think he
Daniel
would
Jones couldn't do that.
with that team that you just named? You don't think that he'd be able to fit in that scheme, fit to take a team to the playoffs, or at least take them
I
to that
mean,
wild card?
Cleveland, man, is set up very nicely. They are set up very nice. Um, I think you could get a quarterback that won't mess it up, not
Okay.
try to make spectacular plays or play outside themselves. And I felt sometimes Baker Mayfield wanted it to be about him and would try to make plays like, no, son, just hand the ball to Nick Chubb. Let him get 3 yards. Then you play action him. Then you hit the slant. Charles Adams gonna get you 6 yards. It's 3rd and 2. Instead of not trying to do too much, but kind of trying to do too much. Stay within the scheme, son, and relax. Stay within the scheme, relax, and let's just play football. But Baker, and like most athletes, got caught up in his ego. They're like, oh, I can make that pass. I can make that throw. I can. No, you can't.
But he wasn't worse than Johnny. He wasn't worse than Johnny Manziel when the Browns drafted Johnny
No,
Manziel.
no. He was not that bad. I mean, but like I said, Baker Mayfield is a good quarterback. He's a good quarterback. Now, I don't think Baker Mayfield is as good as he thinks he is,
Ah, I like.
and that's
Okay.
different. That's different. Baker Mayfield is a good quarterback, but Baker Mayfield thinks he's a great quarterback. No, Baker, you're a good quarterback.
Know your role, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
That's the
yeah,
biggest
yeah.
thing. But hey, everybody, thank y'all for coming back to watching our show. I know we kind of went over time, but that's just us. When we get into conversation, we get to going. But with that being said, there will be more shows to come. Continue to keep supporting, keep watching us, keep subscribing, and keep liking. If you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, any topics that you guys want us to do on the show, let us know because we'll feel free. Even if you guys want to be on the show, send us your information and let us know. We don't have any problem with, hearing our fans, come on and give their opinions and their ideas and their, I guess thoughts on how they feel about the sports world. So with that being said, we'll see you guys next week with way more topics and hopefully my co-host will be, ready next week so you guys can hear what he has to say on the matter of certain topics that he feels passionate about, and continue to just keep supporting it. We love you guys.
All right, Marlon, be good. Everybody take care. If you need me, man, just give me a call.